Alrighty, ladies and gents, here we go. This is the dude, Intergalactic Brew, coming at you live and in effect. And today, or tonight I should say, is the night. It's time for my official UFC 129 predictions. Now, I've been thinking about this for the past couple of days. I really couldn't come to the conclusion of whether I wanted to do my predictions either Wednesday or yesterday. But I've had a real rough day today, and I was going to do it this afternoon. I was also contemplating with that, but I decided to go ahead and do it now because I was just totally exhausted this afternoon. Like, it's a long story. But anyway, be that as it may, here we go. UFC 129 predictions. First fight I want to talk about. Ben Smooth Henderson versus Mark Bocek. Basically, what we're going to have is we're going to have the power, and we're going to have the athleticism and the wrestling / striking of Henderson versus the intelligence, the technique, and the craftiness of Mark Bocek, and also, of course, the jiu-jitsu. Now, I was thinking about this fight, and I was thinking, okay, a lot of times in Ben Henderson fights, we see him give up his back numerous times. Now, fortunately, in the past, he's been able to escape from danger from this position. But I thought to myself, I said, now what if he was fighting a world-class Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and say the fight did hit the floor, and say they're scrambling, and let's say that world-class BJJ fighter takes his back, or let's say Ben Henderson just voluntarily gives up his back on the mat with a well-accomplished Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. What would happen? And then I snapped back to reality, and I was like, oh, of course, he would get choked out. So, my suggestion for Ben Henderson, as good of a wrestler as he is, and also I heard he's a brown belt in BJJ, but okay, be that as it may. But I got one piece of advice for Ben Henderson. Do not go to the mat. Keep the fight stood up. Use that Taekwondo background that you have, and on top of that, he has some, pretty good punches, with this boxing technique. So, my advice for you, Ben Henderson, keep the fight standing. I know your ego is probably going to get involved, and you're probably going to want to take this fight to the mat to prove a point that you're not scared of Mark Bocek's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But the bottom line is, bro, you need to be. I'm not saying be scared of his Jiu-Jitsu, but you need to honor it, because it is deadly. And if that guy gets your back, he's going to submit you, because he's just like a snake. He's real slithery, real slick, and he can catch you within an instant. So Ben Henderson is going to have to keep this fight standing and prevent the take. Well, I don't think Bocek will take him down, but then again, he might, because Bocek's wrestling ability is pretty good as well. But I mean, Ben Henderson, he's too strong, and I think he'll just easily stuff the takedowns. So what I think we're going to end up see happening is, I think the fight's going to be kept standing for a good portion of the fight. And for some reason, man, I just think Henderson's going to let his ego get the best of him, and he's going to try to take Bocek down. And for some reason, I could see him trying to ground and pound Bocek in his guard, and either Bocek catches him with a triangle choke, a slick triangle choke, or either somehow Ben Henderson pushes him up against the cage, and they'll probably land like sideways, and Bocek will like take his back, like real slippery, like take his back, and I think Bocek's gonna end up submitting Ben Henderson. I just, Ben Henderson can win this fight. I mean, if Bocek doesn't be smart about the situation and at least try and attempt to get Henderson down, which I know is going to be a hard task, but if he doesn't find some way to get this fight to the floor, then Ben Henderson is going to smash it. Bottom line, So, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me one bit if Ben Henderson wins this fight, because I probably expect him to win the fight. If it stays standing, and more than likely it will be standing, but it's just going to come to some point in the fight where Henderson's going to take Bocek down. He's going to wind up in his guard, and Bocek has a very good guard, and Bocek's just going to end up catching him with either a triangle or either, like I said, a rear naked choke, or maybe even an armbar. I don't know, but I can see this happening maybe somewhere in the maybe I'll say somewhere like late in the second round. So I'm going to pick Mark Bocek, late second round submission. But hey, like I said, I expect Ben Henderson to win this fight, but I got a feeling that he's going to try to take a very big risk and try to test Mark Bocek's jiu-jitsu, and it's going to end up costing him. Okay, next fight we have is Vladimir Matyushenko, the janitor, going up against one of my favorite light heavyweights in the world, and the man who I believe beat Antonio Rogerio Nogueira. Even though it was a controversial decision, I still believe in my heart that he won that fight, Jason the Hitman Brills. Okay, now, this matchup here, to me, is pretty even, because you have both guys that have pretty solid wrestling backgrounds. I think that Matyushenko is the better striker standing up. I mean, Jason Brills, he put some good strikes together. He clobbered Nogueira a couple of times in their fight, but it wasn't enough power to actually knock him down. So, I think Jason Brills probably needs to get this fight to the ground, which he will more than likely try to do. I think Matyushenko is probably going to want to keep this fight standing because, as we've seen in the past, aka John Jones, when he goes to the ground and he's on his back, curtains. So, being that Matyushenko is the better striker here, I think he's going to want to look and, outstrike Jason Brills, which he probably will, easily. But, I just think that Jason Brills' wrestling background is going to be a little bit too much for Matyushenko. I mean, sure, Matyushenko is a good freestyle wrestler, but, Jason Brills more so comes from that NCAA core of wrestlers, and their style of wrestling is a little bit more fundamentally sound than freestyle. So I can see Jason Brills taking Matyushenko down. I think he'll try to reincarnate what John Jones did. I don't know if he'll be able to finish Matyushenko as quickly as John Jones did, but I see Jason Brills repeatedly taking Matyushenko down, beating him up, possibly getting submission attempts, and I think Jason Brills is gonna grind this one out. So I'm going to say Jason Brills by decision. I'm going to give Matt Yushchenko a little bit more respect than that. I don't think Jason Brills is going to finish him, but I think he'll be able to outpoint him and edge him out. So I'm going to pick Jason Brills decision. But Matt Yushchenko has a great chance of winning this fight. Like I said, he's a better striker. So there you go. Let's see. Next fight, we have Randy the Natural Couture versus Lyoto Machida. Okay, this is another fight that was kind of tough for me to pick. But this is really what I'm going to say about this fight. Randy Couture has had trouble with accomplished strikers in the past, a la Brandon Vera, a la Chuck Liddell. Brock Lesnar stuck him with a straight jab and pounded him out. Nogueira caught him with a nice right cross and put him down a couple of times in their fight. So I think that Lyoto Machida is going to try to follow that up, and I believe that with Lyoto Machida's speed and his elusiveness, and being that Randy Couture is not a fast, athletic guy himself, he's more of like a methodical, straightforward guy. Lyoto Machida, I think, is going to be just a little bit too quick for him. You know, I think he's going to get in and out. He's going to set up his punches with his leg kicks. He'll probably throw some knees in there in the clinch. I think if Lyoto Machida doesn't get put on the fence by Randy Couture, which could be a very big possibility, being that Rampage was able to pin Lyoto Machida up against the fence and kind of wear him down and eventually take Machida down. If Lyoto doesn't get on the fence, I believe he'll do good in the clinch, because he has some sharp knees, and if he lands that knee to the body, I think it's going to be over for Randy Couture. Simply put, what Couture needs to do is basically what he does always, and that's come forward, cut the cage off, try to put Lyoto Machida up against the fence as much as possible, employ his dirty boxing, and eventually try to drop levels and either get that single or double leg, or either that ankle pick that he likes to use, and just try to drag Machida down to the mat and basically beat him up from there, and possibly submitting him. But like I said, I just think Machida is just a little bit too quick for him, and his striking is a lot better than Randy Couture's, and I see this fight, it's going to probably end early. It'll probably end up ending early. So yeah, I'm going to pick Lyoto Machida in this one. Randy Couture, you know, has a good chance of winning this fight, but like I said, Lyoto's just too young and just too quick and too elusive, and you know, that karate style is going to be too much for him. He's going to confuse Couture. But I'm going to pick Lyoto Machida. I'll say middle second round TKO. Next fight, we have Mark Hominick versus Jose Aldo for the UFC Featherweight Championship of the World. This fight, I basically broke down on my George's logic a few days ago by saying if Jose Aldo used his, if Jose Aldo didn't become reckless and tried to use some form of technique in this fight, he would be able to easily outstrike Mark Hominick. But being that Hominick is a lot more intelligent and a lot more technical, that could play a part in him outstriking Jose Aldo. And I'm about to run out of time here, so you know what? I'm just going to finish this up in another video, so stay tuned.